welcome to Doors and Corners, a sci-fi and fantasy film commentary podcast. I'm Brian.
And I'm Zach. And every Friday, we sit down and watch a science fiction or fantasy film and give our 2 cents on its quality, production, story, and trivia.
We watch the film together, but without sounds or visuals provided to avoid copyright issues. But if you do have access, we encourage you to join us and follow along.
Here, we like to keep things casual, and there may be discussions of spoilers or sensitive materials or language. But we do try and keep things clean and family-friendly. Ultimately, the goal of this podcast is to create the experience of us all sitting down and watching this movie together.
So get ready to hit that play button, because we're about to get started.
Damn doors and corners, that's where they get you.
Well, welcome back to Doors and Corners. I'm Brian.
I'm Zach.
And tonight we are continuing Frank Herbert's Dune with part 2.
The miniseries!
Yeah.
Part 2. As he said.
It was funny. Last week you mentioned this, and it must be just this thing, because I've heard other podcasters do it also, where you talk at the beginning like, it's a surprise. And it's like, it's in the title of the episode. Like, for all those people who clicked on the episode without looking at what it was.
I almost did the exact same thing here, because I just realized that I was about to launch part 1 again instead of part 2. Because I wasn't looking at.
Yeah, they're all right. They're right in a line on the Internet Archives.
Whoopsies.
Oh goodness.
So yes, for those of you who don't know, we are watching this on the Internet Archive, and apparently that is legal, which is cool.
Yeah, I never really understood that, but all right.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things. It's just the rights are in a really weird spot with like the death of the previous Sci-Fi Network and all kinds of stuff, and streaming services don't want it, so certain things just are able to get picked up, especially with the extended edition, which is harder to market because it's got boobies.
You can, man. I remember back when, it's a tiny little, I feel like the harp, like back in the day. I always found it amazing that, like, when the original CSI, like original Las Vegas CSI debuted, I think that was 2000, 2001.
Yeah!
Oh, yeah. Get the who. But it's just like the amount of graphic violence that you could show on network television, like in prime time. And it was, because that was, I remember that being talked about back then, that show was like, kind of a new, like, the forensics, where you could show, bodies decomposing and all this kind of, and just like how, and I'm a pretty conservative guy, but it is still funny to me that you can show so much violence and you can show so much human suffering, but if you show a female nipple, people will lose their minds. And I'm not even saying that we like should be doing that, but the contrast I do find amusing, even as somebody who does think that maybe society's gone a little too far down that road. It is amusing, the collective, gasp that will come out of that. Yeah, pearl clutching. The Janet Jackson scenario, where I'm just like, have you seen what's on the show after the Super Bowl?
I mean, the Janet Jackson thing is the entire reason we have YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Are you familiar with that, Brian? The fact that the YouTube was created because some guys were trying to find the Janet Jackson incident and couldn't?
That sounds familiar. I know that it's definitely, I knew it was one of the most early, like, sought out things. I remember it being a big deal that, on the internet, Matt Drudge, for like a while.
Yeah, the Drudge Report.
On the Drudge Report, he kept, like, a live link, kept finding it, because it kept being taken down. And he would always find a live link that worked to an uncensored photo, just so people could find it whenever they wanted to. That was like a little act of rebellion that he was doing back in the day. And it was just like, all right. But yeah, it's again, as somebody who by no means would argue that we need more, just kind of casual, nudity and sex in cinema. I think we're already pretty saturated. But the weird, lines that we draw in what's allowed to be seen by, regular people versus what you have to, like, know what you're getting into is funny. But I also am like somebody who, I sound like such an old man when I do this. Every single new streaming show on HBO or Netflix or Prime, or I mean, not every, but so many of them. The level of just, I mean, it makes The Wolf of Wall Street look tame. The kind of language that just casually is in everything, and it's just, I just don't. It's not that I care about the language; it's just justify it somehow. Or is this really just how people talk? And I don't spend time around these people, maybe, because I've never heard people talk like that. Maybe it's because I don't live in L.A. or New York. I don't know.
Weren't you in the Army?
That was in infantry. That is a special, micro universe of the infantry. But what's funny is that most of those guys...
I completely agree, because I've worked in some places where cussing was abundant and worked in some places where it wasn't. And no, the stuff that they're allowed to get away with today versus, needing to put out this special edition so we get to see Chani's boobs is weird.
Yeah. What an interesting way to start this episode, by the way, with this conversation. So here we go.
Yeah. My sister listens to this, man. But, yeah, it's odd. And this particular version doesn't really add a lot. Like, I don't even know what it adds and what it doesn't. And I watched the original version several times. The only thing that I know it adds are 2 nude scenes.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, it's a super... I mean, it's not outlandish. Again, hop on any modern, adult drama on Netflix or HBO, and you'll see way more than this. But it's funny. I don't know the difference either. I only saw the unextended version of this once, and then every time since I've watched the extended cut, because that's what I own on DVD. So
because you're a pervert.
Because I am. I bought it specifically for that. I didn't even know that was in it when I bought it. I was just like, ooh, there's an extended edition. Or is it extended or director's cut? Wait, what do they officially call this? Is it the special edition, the director's cut? I don't know. Whatever. It's got the gold box, the DVD box.
Director's cut.
Director's cut.
So now we know the director's pervert.
Yeah. Well, this is the only thing of note he's ever done. So... But
anyway,
I'm excited to get to part 2 of this. I mean, I think that they cut it off in a really good spot last, part 1, with them going into the sandstorm and escaping the Harkonnens, and kind of, Paul kind of, I mean, that really famous scene in the new movie with the, kind of like turning off the orthocopter and just letting the storm kind of take them.
Orthocopter?
I'm sorry, I did not say that correctly.
Orthocopter?
That's not a thing.
Is that an orthopedic helicopter?
Save me, Zach.
Ornithopter.
There you go. That's the word. I'm not even going to try again. I don't trust myself to try again on the recording. But So I tried really hard this week to try and find some of the behind the scenes that are included on the DVDs, and like the director commentaries and stuff like that. But I couldn't find it. It was really stupid. It's not on YouTube or anything. Just little vignettes. And I couldn't get a hold of it. I was a little bit too busy to get a hold of the actual DVD versions. But just to reiterate a couple of details before we dive in, this is the Dune miniseries from the year 2000. Extended, it is 4 hours and 25 minutes long. We're digesting it in hour and a half bits. Directed and written by John Harrison, based on the work of Frank Herbert. Starring, it always lists William Hurt as top billing, but his character is now dead by this time, and we only see him in some quick little flashbacks and dream sequences. So primarily right now, this is going to be starring Alec Newman, Saskia Reeve, P.H. Moriarty, Ian McNeice, Julie Cox, Giancarlo Giannini. However, it's worth mentioning for part 2, as we get introduced to and expanded the characters of Stilgar and Chani, Uwe Orshenknecht, and Barboba Kodevra. So, I messed up her name. Kodetova. Barbora Kodetova. Is she Czech?
Yes, she's Czech.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm excited.
Born in Prague.
The middle is always hard to do, in a story, but I think that, Dune has a really interesting middle because it's where you get, I don't know, I maybe this is a weird take, but I almost find the middle of Dune to be the most interesting as you get into.
No, you are 100% right. Okay,
Okay.
because like I decided to try and reread a little bit of the book, just kind of jumping through it and rereading some of it. And Dune is unique in that way that it just gets stronger as it goes. It's a continual climb upward. And part of that is that the first half of the book is so much setup. And this movie ends at almost the exact same spot that the first Dune, Villeneuve Dune movie, 2021's Dune, ends. And the reason for that is that is in the book when book 1 ends and book 2 begins. And this miniseries almost perfectly aligns to the 3 books of Dune inside of the actual book Dune.
Say book and Dune one more time.
Book Dune. Dune book.
There we go. Yeah. Well, and it is a very clear transition point. You know, where you have the Harkonnen attack has happened, the treason's happened. You know, Paul and Lady Jessica are into the desert. Like it's. Well, it was written to be, obvious. I'm sure when Frank Herbert wrote it, it was like, this is a transition. This is a major, corner turn in the story, which is where they get you, by the way, at the corners, the doors in the corners, so to speak.
Doors in the corners, yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I love the middle chapter. I think that Paul coming to grips with who he is. Learning about the Fremen, those are the 2 big things. The most compelling parts of the story for me have always been learning about the Fremen. I find that their culture just really, one of the really cool sci-fi cultures out there, especially kind of, the Fremen pre the events of the series, kind of how you find the Fremen when Paul meets them. I find that just to be a really interesting culture, and it's really kind of well realized and spelled out, even though we actually spend very little time with the Fremen in that state. Most of Herbert's writing is after the events of this, and the Fremen changed significantly after the events of this book, which is a whole other interesting conversation. But that, learning about them, learning about the Sieches and their culture, and kind of how things go with Jameis and all that, and then Paul wrestling with his destiny, so to speak, is for me personally the more interesting part of the story than the conclusion. The conclusion is very good, but I genuinely find the middle chapter of this story to be the most interesting and the most engaging.
Well, Dune itself works on the same series of events of virtually any like modern young adult or adventure story that has that kind of, I'm been cast down in life somehow, and I'm building myself back up amongst an alien culture in order to achieve some goal. Because it's a very, very common trope, right?
Yeah.
And Dune operates under that exact same rule set, except that what a normal book will take its first quarter to tell, Dune takes half the book. Because it has such a complex world that's setting things up so minutely, and he does kind of rush the end in some of the some of the climactic bits. But at the same time, going any longer would have been absurd. So yeah. I'm ready to start this thing because genuinely, this is, I think, the best part.
Yeah, I would agree. So again, we are watching part 2, and this is not just an arbitrary split up, on the internet. Like this is how. Like in the DVDs, like these are 3 distinct chapters also. So this is how, because I think when they released this on the Sci-Fi Channel, I think they released it over like a week or 2, or I don't think they just dumped all 3 of these.
One day after the other.
Okay,
so
a day apart.
One night, it was a 3-day special event. The first night was part 1, second night part 2, third night part 3. About 1 hour and 32 minutes long each, with approximately 25 minutes of commercials.
Okay. Nice. So yeah, like kind of a 2-hour presentation each night. Cool.
Correct.
Well, if you can find this, if you feel like this is one that I do feel like, unless you've seen this randomly enough that you can play it in your head, which I doubt there's a lot of people out there who have, definitely recommend finding this and following along with us. So we are going to hit the play button on part 2 in 3, 2, 1, go.
And because this was done on the Internet Archive, and it's
Is it French?
Technically the French version, it's like Dear poet Frank Herbert, La Posente, Sci-Fi, Dune.
We still get
also,
that.
it has no subtitles, which usually we have subtitles.
Yeah.
And we're able to rely on that for some dialogue. But not this one.
Yep, I am usually very happy with with subtitles because, obviously when we're recording, I have the movie down much lower than you, so we can actually hear each other. And
most people tend to turn up volumes to get me out.
I'm just weird, I guess. But
so it's the same beginnings with the kind of falling away and the little bad CG.
Bad CG. I still like this little kind of musical motif they have here, though. And they have the falling away.
I think that it works. It goes kind of, tribal, which was done on purpose because they didn't want it to be this big grandiose thing that's full orchestra, because that would have taken a lot of money. But it also gives it kind of a clear identity versus the previous version.
Well, and I like the idea that, because the Fremen, it is a more kind of quaint nomadic vibe, right? Especially, on the planet. And so having a little bit of that, I think, really fits well. So
slight recap of the whole importance of the spice, narrated by Julie Cox's Irulan character. Kind of a reference back to the books, because she always had little vignettes at the beginning of every chapter to tease the audience about what was coming.
Yeah. And leading into the second part, too, it's interesting that, again, they cut out the whole sequence of Paul and Jessica getting out of the desert. And then here we jump right back into basically like a nightmare the Baron's having.
Yeah. Because he had some nightmares and stuff, some hauntings anyway, in the books following the attempt on his life. They have him here on Arrakis. And they bring in Fade onto Arrakis, which...
How did I miss this last week? Sorry. That's the dude from Stargate Universe, right?
No.
It's not?
No, this guy's name is Matt Kiesler.
Okay, sorry. No,
Fade Routha. He has been in other things, though. Like, he's actually been in a significant amount of other things. He's one of those guys who's just like, he would pop up in random stuff.
Okay, sorry. Now I can tell it's not him. For some reason, as he walked in, the angle of his face, he looked just like the guy who played the lieutenant on Stargate Universe, like the young one, who was kind of the
I know exactly who you're
lead.
Talking about. Because that actor, he was also in that Wachowski's weird thing.
Oh yeah,
Brian J. Smith, Lieutenant Scott, Sense 8, I think it was called. But yeah, he's been on several.
He's been in a couple of TV things.
Yeah, he was in that show Treadstone that they tried to make, that was like a Bourne universe expansion thing that lasted a single season.
I love this. Just like we can't, obviously we don't have the budget for a crash, so we're gonna take our model and we're gonna put it on the soundstage on some sand, and be like,
tilt it.
Yeah, it's a little off kilter. They had a rough landing.
Like, it's fine. And then, like, they're just on the surface of Dune
just
in
hanging.
the daylight.
Oh, yeah. They're just,
like,
about to say, it does not seem hot at all right now.
This does not seem like the most dangerous planet in the universe right now, guys.
Yeah. The idea that you would be dead within minutes, or, if you were, like, without a still suit, just out in the open desert. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, too, like, they were sent with a whole care package from Dr. Yui, right? Where they had still suits, and they had the tent, and they had, the paracompass and all that stuff.
Sand compactors and all that stuff. And they had some really weird scene. I remember actually looking through the book. They have this whole chapter dedicated to them kind of getting their bearings in the desert. Jessica, like, walks wrong on a dune and gets buried underneath it, has to enter this weird, like, stasis meditation in order to survive. Paul has to dig her out, but in digging her out, he loses their pack, and he panics. And the whole thing is about, like, him learning not to panic, right? And
I remember that because, he's like...
Yeah.
Funny, I haven't thought about that in a while, because I haven't read the book in a couple years. And then I can picture it on my head. Yeah, that whole thing where he's like found her, but he has to like be careful about the shifting sand, and they like, he like finally gets a hold of her and he has to like pull her out, but like time it just right. And the packet's
because he has
buried.
to like use the acid from inside of the compass because they're like the sand, the spice is alkali and it'll foam up. And
he's like creating like a barrier almost. Yeah. But here they go. They got their still suits.
Now they have their still suits. They still got their care package somehow. It was like an emergency pack inside the ornithopter. But this whole sequence, they gloss over an incredibly important moment in the books that is highlighted actually in Villeneuve's Dune, which is them in the still tent, and he has this saturation of spice vision of the future that really overwhelms him, and he shows like he understands for the first time that he truly does possess this ability of future sight. And he's able to tell that Jessica's pregnant. He's able to... They actually straight up reveal the big twist. It's not even a big twist in the book. It's just part of the story that Vladimir Harkonnen is actually Jessica's mother.
Yeah.
Like, he straight up knows that he's Harkonnen by this time in the book. And there's even this kind of badass line where he's just like, and now it is time for Harkonnen to hunt Harkonnen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like his way of saying he's coming for you, Grandpa.
Yep.
It was a good one. I liked it.
I feel like her boots have like lifts in them to make her look a little more feminine in her.
No. Actually, all of the still suits have that. What they did is they actually decided to try and go with what the book describes the still suits as. The pump for the entirety of it is in the heel.
Yeah.
So that's not a lift. That's a pump.
Are you sure? Because Paul's looked more like regular boots. That's it. The only reason I called it out is that it looked like her boots were still a more feminine cut than his. When in the book they would all be the same.
That I'm not positive of. I didn't get a good enough look at what's his faces. Here we have the Emperor again, and it's just such a strange thing. Okay, here's a character that was cut out of Dune Part 2, Villeneuve's Dune Part 2, which made me really sad because he's played by this really great actor whose name I can't remember all of a sudden.
You're talking about the Emperor's Mentat?
Yeah, he's not a Mentat. He's a noble by the name of Count Fenring.
Oh, that's right.
And Fenring was a failed Bene Gesserit experiment to create a Kwisatz Haderach, which is what
Paul is.
Paul is. So there's actually this strange respect relationship that goes on between this clearly villainous Count Fenring and Paul, to where Fenring actually sort of betrays the Emperor at the end by allowing Paul to live when he had a shot to potentially kill him, because he sees that Paul is the Kwisatz Haderach, which he was meant to be. And he's a very interesting and menacing character. He's going to be played by Tim Blake Nelson, which some people would know from The Incredible Hulk or Captain America, Strange New Worlds, Brave New World. Let's start
crossing franchises
or
there.
Oh Brother Where Art There, or Oh Brother Where Art Thou, and a couple of others.
He's a great actor.
They filmed scenes with him. The woman who seduces Fade and gets pregnant by him, that one French actress, is supposed to be his wife.
Ah. Yeah, because she's been in a bunch of stuff. She was in Mission Impossible at one point and a few other...
No, not Mission Impossible. She was in James Bond.
No, she was also in Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. She was up in the tower.
Oh my gosh, you're right. She was the assassin.
She killed Sawyer from Lost at the beginning.
Yeah. Sawyer from Lost. I always forget that actor's name. Josh something.
Yeah.
Man, he would have made a great Aquaman back in the day.
Yeah.
Josh Holloway.
Josh Holloway, yep. Yeah, I think people expected him to be bigger after Lost, and he just never caught traction after that show.
Yeah. But Count Fenring, in this, he's just a Czech actor who's super creepy, plays the role well, but he's a very, very dangerous character in the book.
I love they go in
and Tim Blake Nelson would have been so good, but they cut him out of the movie for pacing issues.
Okay, I do like this. I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? Just the very unnatural carvings. But I'm glad that Paul notices. Like, yeah, a cave like this would have been used by somebody at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm glad that they. Okay, this confrontation's not explicitly spelled out in the book, is it? Where like the Baron talks to Liet-Kynes.
No, in fact, the conversation doesn't actually happen between Kynes and
Oh, because he needs it.
Baron.
He needs it to be a total secret because the Emperor would have been pissed, right?
It needed to be complete deniability,
Yeah.
because this also involved the character of Thufir Hawat, the Mentat from the first part,
Yeah.
where the Baron wanted Thufir Hawat as his own pet, and he wanted to kill Kynes specifically because Kynes helped his enemies, and like he was very explicit on that. They helped my enemies. He needs to die. But the Sardaukar would never allow that to happen, and both of them were in Sardaukar custody. So he has this lieutenant who's addicted to this like drug music, and actually Raban, and he tasks them separately with killing the Sardaukar, disposing of Kynes to make it look like an accident, and kidnapping Hawat. And it's this whole thing. And it actually has a really interesting scene where you have Raban, who he describes as this like mindless tank or something like that. He knows Raban's an idiot. But Raban is also the only Harkonnen who takes the Fremen seriously. And he's just like, Uncle, we should really focus on like wiping out the Fremen or something. They're gonna cause problems. And he's just like, no, dude, they're fine. They're a bunch of desert savages.
Yeah. Okay, we got a little
mouse.
animatronic mouse here.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even think it's animatronic.
Is that just straight up CG?
I think it's just straight up bad early CG.
Okay. Because the texture was definitely strange. It might have been a mixture. Like, I feel like when it was just sitting there.
In.
Yeah. I feel when it was just sitting there, it was like maybe, and then when it ran away. I do like that they're giving Paul, they give him a little scruff. He's coming in, looks like he hasn't shaved in a day or two, and that they're already doing on him kind of the like in his nose a little bit of the well, no, that's just from like being beat up. That's right. That's not from the tube from the still suit. That comes later.
Yeah. But they've already changed his demeanor from petulant, dickish little kid to somebody who is now understanding the gravity of his situation. He's turning into a man. Also, really interesting. The set here is obviously terrible.
Yeah, what to say? That
this is
that
like
pan showed off just how rough the background is.
Yeah, there was no parallax to it whatsoever.
Yeah.
It
just looked like it looked like you were panning over like an iPhone panoramic photograph from like 10 years ago.
But that's just it. This was like an early version of the volume.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't screens. They were projecting the image using huge projectors.
Okay.
And what that enabled was for them to get lighting. And because despite how bad that background was, the lighting itself wasn't horrible. And they do that a few times here. They actually do well matching the lighting with the background, because they are able to get some on-set reference for how things needed to look, instead of relying on something as clunky as a green screen for the lighting, but the result is a very flat-looking background. This background particularly appears all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout this series here.
I do like that line. It's a tiny line, but it's just, again, a little bit about the culture, just the idea of like drink all the water in your suit because your body is the best place to store it. Just those little, yeah. They're not wearing gloves, which does bother me a little bit.
Right out of the book, almost verbatim.
Yeah. It does bother me that they're not wearing gloves, though. These still suits, that they should have gloves, because obviously you'd be sweating profusely out of your hands.
Yes and no, because the book brings up the glove problem a couple times, in that in order to have it actually catch and cycle water, they need to be a little bit more bulky than dexterity allows. So gloves are one of the few things that a Fremen won't always necessarily have put on their still suit.
I feel like I need to read the books again.
So it's you're not wrong, but they also do mention that in the books. Yeah.
That whole fall, I feel like they fell down one little hill and filmed it like 3 or 4 times and just stitched it together. Because
100%. I have zero doubt.
yeah.
Yeah, so like I think this is supposed to be a reference to that scene we were just talking about where she gets trapped and then he loses the bag, because you'll notice that like he loses something. I think the compass.
Yeah,
right?
he loses the compass.
Because in the book they lost the compass because they had to destroy it. And it shows his carelessness.
We lost our power compass.
Oh my gosh, not the power compass. This is brought up in all the Dunes, in fact, I think. Is that there's something weird about Arrakis's magnetic field.
Well, it's got like 2 moons, right? And one of them's like destroyed.
And one of them's very iron dense, I think it was. But here we have the ultimate scene of they're just them running across a soundstage a few times, and they just have to re-edit it.
Yeah.
So that way it looks like they're running a long distance.
Well, yeah, because no, I mean it was that, but the other one to me, the big one was actually when they're running at the end of part 1, and they like the Harkonnen, are like chasing them. Or no, what is it? Not the Harkonnen. It's here we go.
Good worm shot.
That's some comp right there. The inside of the worm is lava. But it is now this. I do remember the first trailer for part 1 of Danny Villeneuve's Dune, where they show you the scene of the the worm up like sitting. Yeah. All of a sudden, it's the one shot of the worm. Scene. It's this scene, and that was such an epic shot in the trailer. But you can see like the full glow around his silhouette against that background.
Yeah, the full matte lines.
Yeah, it's just so painfully obvious that just.
We need to go spam Corridor Crew, okay? And to have them look at the Dune miniseries.
I bet you they would actually have a ton of fun with it.
Oh yeah, well, I think they should do a whole Dune special, just so they can make fun of the original sandworms looking so much like penises.
A little bit. Ooh, we found stairs, and all of a sudden the blue light. Mm-hmm. It's exciting.
Wow, we know this is important because the lighting's changed.
Oh yeah, that's right. They found the old the old outpost, the old agricultural.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, this is one of those things that you see throughout, because this is where they're meeting the Fremen, right?
Yeah.
But the ecology outpost is where Duncan actually died.
Yep.
And
which they did, in part 1.
Mm-hmm. In part 1 of Villeneuve's Dune. These are the most stoic-ass Fremen. They're just like, we're just gonna be popping right out of the shadows, standing up straight like Grim Reapers.
Yeah, it's very, you want the shot of them panning around, and they've all got their cloaks on, and their eyes glowing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and I'm just going to wait until I hear my name called.
The way he pulls his hood back and just kind of looks back at them, it's very stiff.
This is such a stage play.
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
This scene, like the way that he stays in the back, and Paul's like, I know him. He's Stilgar, and then he walks forward and pulls off his cloak.
It's very
like it's a stage play.
Yeah, this is very like off Broadway stage play.
Yeah.
He's got his little squiggle. Go ahead.
The blue lighting. They're so stark with their primary color lighting in this thing. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, it's either blue lighting or it's orange-red lighting. It's red for the Harkonians, orange for the outside of Dune, and blue anytime they're inside. Those are the 3.
Sometimes green. They did a really interesting shot earlier that was during the Baron's Nightmare, where he was in red, Paul was in blue, and then the Fremen behind him were in green. It was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. I do appreciate with the weirding way that it actually is about
weird
Well, the idea that it's more movement and it's not the I'm yelling through a gun like David Lynch does.
Yeah, because the weirding way is a difficult one to put into being cinematic, because it's essentially such precise control over your body that you can do insane things with it, including having bursts of nearly superhuman speed, which is what we just saw here, even if it was done like the 1990 Flash show.
Yeah. It's so like, if we just blur her while she moves, it'll look fast.
Gotta go faster. Yeah, lots of ums from me on this one.
Oh, yes.
But you'll see this exact same situation play out in every version of Dune. It's just one of those super important parts where
well, it's interesting
Stilgar
because
gets like weirdly giddy. He like instantly likes Jessica, and he actually thinks about taking her as one of his wives at one point.
Yeah.
Like,
well, hey, this is.
Novel.
I think it's just I think it was meant to be an appreciation of her, but just like he respects her. He's caught off guard with how formidable she is, and he he appreciates a strong woman.
Yeah, and because he doesn't really give a shit,
Yes.
He doesn't like outsiders, so for an outsider to suddenly be like effective, he's like, oh la la.
Where is the green light coming from?
The moon behind her.
It's just like somebody threw a green lava lamp back there.
Obviously, she has a green glow globe somewhere, man. But yeah, this is supposed to be Chani. Definitely not Zendaya.
And then, the one thing that this movie really does struggle with is the Fremen all coming across as very, just
Soviet.
I was gonna say the Fremen being just a very, careful, methodical, just the idea that like these are some of the most dangerous people in the galaxy. It's just they basically just look like dudes in robes hanging out on the set. They do struggle with showing, and that's one thing that Villeneuve's doing. When you saw them fight, he really kind of went. I mean, because there's really no official weirding way in the recent Dune, right? It's just Paul was just a good fighter. Right?
It's brought up like twice.
Yeah, it's just he's been taught how to fight well. That's basically it, right?
Yeah, it mainly focuses on like the voice and the prescience as being his kind of Bene Gesserit heritage.
Yeah, it's just the green light. There's just a straight up green moon up there in the sky.
Well, that's one of the things that this movie version, I should say, does in a way that the others don't, is that Dune's not just a monochromatic Sahara Desert substitute. There is differences, because it describes the desert being in entirely different hues and colors depending on which moon is up and the type of day and the season, and there's like purples and greens. So it looks jank, but it is a little bit more book accurate.
Yeah. I think it's just because it's so harsh. The colors, like you said, they're so primary. There's not, and the lines of them are very distinct. Like it just looks like a light bulb's in the back. But you get the glow globes here. Got the cool little,
Mm-hmm. The shake effect, which is nowhere in the books. That's something they just totally added.
Yeah.
And I remember asking my dad about it, because I hadn't read the books yet the first time I saw this, and I'm just like, what's with that? And he's like, they're glow globes. And I'm just like, is that what they're in the book? He's just like, I don't remember. I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's the way they're doing them.
Well, like Chani is so just almost immediately just like, oh, she's just friendly. She's so supportive of, just instantly. There's no hint of any like, all right, I kind of get used to you and get to know you. Like she's just, just immediately like, how you doing? How can I help? I'm just very nice. And the idea too
in the books, he makes the mistake of, okay, here we get the truly extended edition stuff.
Yeah.
So we have Stilgar's butt, some random guy's butt. Here we get our first boobs, if I'm judging the timing correctly.
You remember these.
But, lots of butts.
I mean, you know what? At least they're fair. Stilgar's got some scars though, man.
Yeah. And here we go. So we'll talk through this one here. For those of you who might be following along, enjoy the sight of this random Czechoslovakian actress's boobs. Um,
I do. The one thing I will say, what's actually strange is the reaction. I almost feel like that ruins it a tiny bit. That she's like, "Oh, you're looking at me," because the whole point was, I think, was trying to be made here is just, again, this culture is very different. Like their standards, their ideas about things, even something as simple as modesty is so radically different, and that's not that's a cool idea to really be like that. There's so many fundamental things. This is truly a different culture, that you have so many things that are radically different. That's but it's, I don't know. It struggles because in some ways it does it well, but I do feel like one of the struggles that this miniseries has, is really establishing the Fremen culture as strongly as the David Lynch version did and the Denis Villeneuve's version did.
I don't know. I think that it does give a lot of time to the Fremen.
No, it gives them time. That's, I think, why I'm frustrated by it, is that I think, because again, you don't, and part of it's just the actors they got and the setting they got, but there's not this. Again, these are supposed to be just this intensely religious, nomadic, deeply ingrained culture, and just what the harshness of this world has forged them into. Just being something, truly terrifying, and I think that's where they for a variety of reasons weren't able to quite accomplish that, in my opinion.
So this scene here is the death of Liet Kynes, which in the Villeneuve Dune, Liet's a woman and she gets killed by Sardaukar and is eaten by a worm. In the book and here, they show he's dumped on a pre-spice mass, which is spice that's underground, that's bubbling up to the surface because it's having a chemical reaction with minerals in the sand, and it explodes with the force of a bomb. And it's that's what kills him, but it also creates the context for what comes later in the form of the importance of the pre-spice mass to Paul's plan to break the guild's monopoly on spice. So they do give it time, and it's pretty useful, I guess, narratively.
Yeah.
Though having them hang out in Star Trek Next Generation costumes in the open sunlight as Fremen is a little odd.
Yeah, the idea of them getting into comfortable clothes when they're like in, underground essentially, or like in the rocks, is fine. But yeah, there's a lot of time spent in this miniseries just chilling outside in the sunlight.
You're not going to burn to death or anything. And then another thing that's not brought up yet is that Liet Kynes is actually Chani's father.
Yeah. Did they bring that up later in this miniseries, right? Like, that is revealed in this miniseries?
I can't remember. Oh, yes. Yes, they do.
Oh. Oh, man. It's interesting, because this is one, too, where you're going to have to remind me the actor's name who played Jameis in Denis Villeneuve's. He's from Star Trek Strange New Worlds also.
He is from Strange New Worlds. The problem is pronouncing it. Okay.
But he is an actor who has so much just gravitas to him. Yeah.
So I apologize for any of this here. His name is Babs Olusanmoku. Babs Olusanmoku. And he's amazing.
Yeah.
But all the other Jameses, whether it's the extended edition of Lynch's Dune or this one, he's just an angry white dude.
Yeah, he just comes across as he's like childish, and
that's not entirely separate from the book, though.
Yeah,
his character was expanded in Villeneuve's Dune to be more than a petulant man-child.
Yeah, and I know he was, but it's very. I know that this was like he was a character written in order to have Paul go through something important. I mean, that's quite literally what he is in the book. I do love that they fight in their diapers.
Yeah. Yep, dude. Indeed.
So I kind of like the Chris knife. I get that because of the design of it. like the new one really does look like it'd just be kind of a tooth that's just been, formed a little bit. But I think that this dagger has got some character. The prop itself.
It does. I completely agree. I think that this is the best looking Chris knife for being like a book accurate Chris knife. Oh god, the diaper! Like it's not inaccurate to the book, but it looks so freaking funny. They couldn't have just like put him in their lower pants, just have him like barefoot in trousers. They needed to be in these sumo diapers.
Yeah. Now they do. I think they do give Paul. I mean, and not that the fight choreography in this miniseries is amazing, but they do at least kind of let Paul shine a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they give him some good physicality. They did actually have some good knife fight people on hand. That's one of the things that this series did well. Because they didn't put a lot of money into general fight choreography, but they wanted the knife fights to shine. So at the end, with him facing Fade, and then here with Jameis, there's a little bit more quality than what you would find in your average episode of Star Trek.
Yeah, like it's not bad. Yeah, you're right. Like this whole fight, it's not overly. There's not a million cuts, which I really appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Because so many physical fights, especially in the 2000s and early 2010s, relied overly on. We talked about it before. The Bourne effect. Just the quick cuts and shaky cam to kind of cover up. And
this is pre-Bourne, which that's a huge pun for any Dune fan out there. Yeah. But thankfully that wasn't in vogue at that time. Well, I mean, this is actually really good for Stilgar in the end because he ends up marrying Jameis's widow.
Paul does.
So, fun fact. No, Stilgar.
Well,
so the
am I totally because I know that Paul takes her and her Jameis's sons on, like protects them. Am I totally
under his
forgetting?
care. But then after the 2-year jump, when he's had a kid with Chani. He
I've got to renew my.
He's given, or Stilgar essentially went to him and said, "I like her. Can I have her?" And she was like, "I like him. Can he have me?" And Paul's like, "Go for it."
Yeah, well, he was fun.
Farah,
I forget.
I keep calling her Farah. It's Hera or
Hera.
Hera is like an important minor character who pops up throughout the books. She plays kind of this like blunt voice of reason in a lot of things and keeps Stilgar from being an idiot.
Yeah.
And she helps raise the Atreides twins.
I love the little like something just flew past the Sunway out there, and the somebody just got like a little shadow puppet like back in the in the screen out there.
It's obviously a bird,
but you can see the line where like the real sand and the background, are so starkly just like one begins, the other one ends.
It's rough.
And again, they've got like a heat lamp from the Costco, not the Costco, the casino, all you can eat buffet over their heads right now.
Oh jeez. You're so mean.
I know I'm mean,
wrong, but you're so mean. I like this actor for Stilgar though. I think he does a pretty decent job.
No, I really do have a lot of love for this miniseries, but that's why I feel like I can poke on it a little bit. It's interesting too, the effects on their eyes, the Fremen eyes, because it was practical. It works really well at certain angles, but you can tell when in scenes where the actors are moving their heads around a lot, that the reflection off the contacts they were wearing is sometimes it's very effective, other times it's not at all, just depending on.
Apparently they really tried to get it consistent, but they
that'd
also
be so hard.
Yeah, because UV light at a direct angle can be damaging to the retina, so they just kind of did it where they could. Like right here, there's only one eye lit up, right?
Yeah.
And so they just kind of accepted, hey, we're going to do it this way, so it's going to look really cool. And if, as long as we're not damaging the actor's eyes, if it looks bad, it's going to look bad. oh well, we're
Yeah.
at least going to try something that looks as good as we can. I like this scene though. They do have it in the book. They put him in a death still, and it's gross. Okay,
Yeah.
like Jameis's body is going to get crushed into pulp, and all of the moisture extracted, and all of the water extracted, and it's disgusting. But it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be harsh.
Yeah, it is. But I think that's where the Fremen being a very harsh culture, the idea that you're basically you're borrowing water from the tribe. You're kind of carrying it, but it's the tribe's water that that's the most valuable thing that you have is the moisture in your own body. And I actually do love that. I like here that they have the Paul participating in the ceremony of talking about Jameis, and the idea that crying is just such an intense thing for the Fremen. Like
they don't cry. They don't give water to the dead.
Yeah.
That's wasting water.
Yeah. It was the tribe's water.
Yeah, so there's an important moment.
That is not book. 33 liters, by the way. Not even remotely 33 liters.
No, that's not supposed to be 33 liters. That's supposed to be Paul's portion.
Okay, sorry. Like, he said 33 liters. That's...
No, because he comes and he gives Paul his portion.
Okay.
To regain the water that you lost during the fight. But also, he has this water, and he ends up passing it to Chani to hold.
Yeah.
And essentially, he doesn't realize it, but he accidentally just asked her to marry him by Fremen culture.
Yeah, it's like you gave me your water. That's yeah. I mean that's a ring, right?
Yeah,
and then there actually are water rings, right? Like they actually get back to the main siege, and the water goes back.
Yeah,
the
water
main,
rings
and they get
are
water rings
worn in women's hair or as bracelets to collect water that you sweat out on your scalp and your arms, and to wear another's water rings is to show that you're in a romantic relationship with them.
Yeah, but it's also almost like currency, right? Because it's like. Isn't
I don't remember.
I feel like you had a certain amount to signify how much the tribe's water is yours essentially, or something like that. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong. I could be remembering that wrong.
That sounds familiar. It's been a while. If that is in there, I think that it's in Dune Messiah or something.
Well, because I remember a lot of when they get back to the main siege, and you kind of have. We're just glossing right over. They're getting him his Fremen name here.
Wadib.
Yeah, I do like the scene in Dune where he gets his name quite a bit. It's just it's fun, and part of it is Javier Bardem is he's so great. He's just talking about.
I was really surprised in that scene that they kept the Usul thing, because they kept Usul in David Lynch's Dune. They kept Usul in that one, but it's not in here. Which this is the one trying to be the more accurate one.
Yeah,
right?
They skip one of his names.
But the whole Usul thing doesn't really mean anything.
No, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's more just. Again, they did what they could. There's so little energy to this.
Yeah.
I mean that.
The music isn't terrible.
Oh, they're definitely trying. And they're showing here, the whole how you turn. But I think part of it is
work,
Yeah. And it's I don't know how you would do this with the technology they had at the time, but there's no sense of just energy up on top of the worm of just the vibration and the amount of movement and just the dust coming up and everything. I mean, they're doing a little bit here. They got a little kind of mist going, right?
Yeah.
Chani gets him up. Yeah.
Yes, she does. But they include just some of these weird things, like him doing the call, for the Worm Riders. They're heading to Siege Tabar, however you decide to pronounce it, Tabar. They at least show oh look, the Fremen do cool things and ride on worms, and I like that they show him actually pulling up the scales, because it's very important to how worm writing works.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
The worms are like, ow, keep that above the sand.
Mm-hmm. And here we have the matte painting in the background is meant to reflect Petra.
Yeah.
It's meant to reflect actually a major ruin that was over in Iraq that has since been destroyed. Back in, I want to say like 2014, 2016, it was destroyed by ISIS.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff has been unfortunately destroyed.
Mm. But yeah.
He's got his little wrist-mounted
this
crossbow.
This is a little bit of the whole like Fremen culture thing.
It is, yeah.
Like, this is where they did well in this one, is that you actually got to see that the Fremen live somewhere, and they do things, and they do these menial jobs, and they're not all just still suit people out in the desert, because the other two Dune adaptations keep them so like mysterious. We don't see their day-to-day lives really.
Yeah, the closest
they have a couple of
I was just say, I mean, you have a little bit of the, at the end, the big council meeting, how many are there. You get the little bit of like in the tents when they're kind of all hanging out outside, and they're, you kind of, that's where Dune Evil News kind of did the whole, like, the Fremen from the south that are more religious, and the other Fremen who are like, the postmodernist Fremen.
Mm-hmm. But they're all in these little rooms that are all kind of gray lit, and they're all like sitting, and they're even eating in their little groups, and you don't see bedrooms, you don't see any type of clutter, you don't see anything of them living, you just see them sitting.
Yeah.
But yeah, here it is, with Chani learning that Lietz died, and that they found his body in the spice blow.
Yeah.
I remember learning about the spice blows from the early 90s Dune strategy games, because if one of your units hit a spice blow, they instantly died.
Yeah. Because the spice blow is what would bring the harvestable spice to the surface, essentially. Correct?
Yes, essentially a spice blow is like if a worm porta potty exploded, and humans are the flies.
Oh, that's a wonderful, Because the connection between worms and spice was interesting. That, the most valuable substance in the universe was worm crap from Arrakis.
Yes. Oh, I remember. So, do you remember from season 3, I think, or season 4 of Star Trek Discovery, they have the Admiral played by Oded Fehr, and they're talking about replicators, and they're like, oh, replicated food is so cool. He's like, shit. Literally. And it's just kind of this funny deadpan moment. And I saw so many things when Dune came out. Of them, like, talking about, the spice is so important, and then it would immediately cut over to that scene of Oded Fehr. Like, it's shit.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you find that there's any, like, identifiable chemistry between Paul and Chani in this?
Unfortunately,
adaptation?
no. They really do feel like just actors,
On stage.
delivering lines together. There isn't any like genuine chemistry between the people. It's just, and I feel like they're both trying. Like, I actually don't think any of the actors in this series, at least none of the mains, were just phoning it in. But I don't think that. I think that they had to find her locally. I don't think they had the luxury of going and really spreading a wide net to see who would be a good match for Alex Newman.
Yeah, Alec Newman.
Alec Newman. Yeah.
But one thing that I will note, though, is that they act. If my memory serves, it's been many years since I've seen it. They do actually have some pretty good chemistry in Dune Messiah, or Children of Dune, the miniseries, the Dune Messiah portion.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one even longer than this. So, and I mean, it's not like one of those. There's anti-chemistry or like you don't believe it. It's just, it's like many things in this miniseries where it just feels a little stiff. And it's by no means egregious. I've seen way worse stuff on the Hallmark Channel. I'm dating myself there a little bit, but you know what I mean. So it never, as much as it's never been like, oh man, they really have chemistry. It also has never bothered me. It's never been on the level where I've noticed and been in a bad way. She's
Newman
trying.
And the she's giving water to the dead. And
That's
they have that.
Wow. Couldn't you
David
have
Lynch.
dropped an actual drop of water and filmed it?
No, because they need it to turn into things.
Yeah,
they need it to be all symbolic and shit.
Could have morphed like from a. You could have started with a real drop of water though.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
The
matte lines. The matte lines.
He had some really good chemistry, Alec Newman, with the actress who plays Irulan in the first part. Like they actually acted off of each other quite well.
Yeah, the whole dinner scene where
remember Chani just being so stiff.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole where he runs off and it's just kind of like, I'm gonna go hang out with Gurney, and they end up hanging out. That was a strong scene.
Yeah.
I hope she will be comforted by her books.
Mm-hmm. And
what is it with with bald chicks in science fiction being sexy?
I don't know.
It's a thing,
I think it
right?
helps them stand out as alien.
Yeah. Because I
don't
mean,
know. Well,
Ilea in the motion picture was a good-looking woman.
Yeah, and she was designed to be sexual in nature.
Yeah. Well, and this character is also.
This is the same actress who later makes up the second sex scene or the second nude scene.
She's got the little doily on her forehead. It's unfortunate.
Kind of low budget tilk.
What is that?
An ornithopter.
Sorry.
Oh, yes.
It looks so bad. Yes. It's just rough. Oh, yep. Man.
And then these costumes, dude.
Oh.
Like the red with the face mask. They look like these evil, like, techno samurai.
Yeah, but do I have to say, this is just like,
made in your garage.
Yeah, these look like, we've seen better quality costumes in behind-the-scenes photos at Comic-Con, right?
Yeah. And the way that they do have the Fremen, like, popping out of the ground, like daisies. It works.
I did love the in Villeneuve's Dune, the little snorkel thing they had.
Yeah. No,
that
sand
snorkel.
Cool. That's literally what it's called.
Yeah.
Is a sand snorkel.
Yeah. But even here, I mean, they do take the time to kind of show the Fremen as being dangerous here. But again, because it's just this big kind of montage.
Here's the warehouse.
Oh yeah.
It's the warehouse. Number 2, appearance of the warehouse.
Yes. I mean, so they do try to take the time to show the Fremen being dangerous, but it's
Alex, the warehouse again.
Yeah, one more time. But there's not an individual Fremen performance that is just fearsome.
Yeah.
There is
the fake spice that they use in this thing is actually oregano.
Oregano, nice.
Oregano. But there's by this time, this is kind of going over a section in the book that's kind of fluid, where it's just like they jump over a large portion of time.
Oh yeah, a couple years ago.
They also have, but there's also other things that happen before those 2 years elapse, and they're kind of combining them in this. So, there's Muad'Dib, and he's teaching them how to be strategic in a way that will actually hurt the Harkonnen.
Yeah.
While he's also teaching them some of the weirding way. He doesn't have, like, the Fedaykin death commandos until after the 2 years. I do like that they're making Raban this, like, horrible, disgusting, just gross man. That's just everything gross about him.
Yeah.
There's a scene that they had in the Lynch Dune, and I think they're about to hit it here, where he talks about how the Baron has commanded Raban to squeeze.
Yes.
You know?
I think that is coming right up here. Here we go.
Yeah, because it's very important to the Baron's plans that Raban do this. Because one, it'll get them money so they could pay back, and then to pay back the guild for the attack on the Atreides because they spent a lot of money on it.
Yeah,
but it also prepares Dune. Mm-hmm, it also prepares Dune for the arrival of Fade as kind of a savior from the evil Raban, because Raban's too stupid to figure out that he's being set up to fall.
Oh yeah, he's being totally reused. I do like we finally get to see kind of the harness on the Baron, which is kind of interesting here. Mm-hmm. And like you said, that they're not shying away from the fact that he, the boy that left when Fade showed up, and they're just going with it. But again, they're immediately
there's even like a homosexual symbol that's used in some of the current, like they have the boy symbol, but it has the crossed arrows on it.
Yeah, but they also do the whenever they're on, Harkonnen, or sorry, it's not the name of the planet.
Giedi Prime.
Sorry, thank you. That they do the they always like to twist the angle of the camera a little bit. It's just they don't do that anywhere
Dutch
else.
Angles.
Yeah, well, Dutch angle I feel like is that, but it's also usually down a little bit or something like that. But it's They definitely have a distinct style whenever they're on Giedi Prime.
Yeah. We jump into another dream sequence here. We don't know that yet, but could you imagine if they moved that fast into, oh, we rescued Paul, here's a montage, now you need to call him out.
Oh, that'd be, yeah.
That'd have been terrible.
But they do attempt to have. I do wish. I not that I want Villeneuve's Dune to just be like 2 years later, but I do think there could have been a little more time that went by.
Yeah, it's just the main thing with Villeneuve's Dune when it came to that is that he wanted to avoid little girl Alia at all costs.
Yeah, that is.
He just didn't think that would work in apparently. And he actually straight up said that one of his influences for that decision was Twilight. He's just like, that type of weird baby thing doesn't look good on camera.
Yeah, and I mean, I can see that. I mean, you can only get away with that, I think, if you have. I think of an easy example that comes to mind is young Haley Joel Osment, in The Sixth Sense, as being like, or Dakota Fanning. Back when she was, very young, that, it's very hard to find young actresses and actors who can play, mature really well.
They literally had to find a prodigy for Lynch's Dune.
Yeah.
And they had to find
difficult.
A girl that was remarkably small for her size in this one, and they even still had problems because she went through a growth spurt just in the couple weeks they had of her filming.
Yeah, it's because unless you find that, you can't do it. I do completely sympathize with the idea that unless you just hit the gold mine when it comes to casting, it is going to come across badly. And I don't
not
disagree.
Just that, because it was either it's going to come across badly or it would cost, I'm not even joking, like a quarter of the film's budget to CG her.
Mm. Yeah, just to CG the whole person.
Because it's so much harder to do a fully CG character blending into that looks and acts appropriately human.
Yeah. Well, you have in The Way of Water and Fire and Ash on Avatar, you have Sigourney Weaver playing a teenager.
Yeah.
You got to go that route.
That's a little bit different because they already have that pipeline.
Yeah. Well, if you did that just from scratch, yeah. I mean, unless you're over there in Weta's shop, where they've got that all going. But then you could do. I mean, I'm saying that's the only way you could do it. You could get a mature actress who could, convey that right balance, and then just But it is still much harder to CG a photorealistic human than it is to do any kind of alien. As impressive as the Na'vi are, it is much harder to do. Because the human, it's that uncanny valley thing, right? It's human beings. We don't actually consciously stay aware of all the nuances that make us sure that somebody else is real. But as soon as you change even a little detail of it, our brain just inherently knows something's wrong. That's not right, and that's the Uncanny Valley, right?
Yeah. And
So
there's
it's
times
difficult.
when we've seen fully CGI people on screen and haven't realized it. They're getting really stinking good at it. But doing a
We've
full child that way, like
yeah,
a little talkative, how do you
yeah.
convey a mature toddler properly? It's
It'd be
insane.
very difficult. Yeah.
It'd be so difficult. Also, here we're having this meeting between the Reverend Mother and the Guild discussing the problems with Harkonnen income and um like bloodlines and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I love this guild guy. He's so over the top. He's so weird looking. He never blinks. The things he does with his hands, the way that he acts is so stupid. And you have some horrible ADR for the Reverend Mother. With the big catastrophic. And her mouth just doesn't move like that.
Oh man.
Yeah. I thought
She's got those. She's got
Okay.
her nails remind me of the witch from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
It's been so long since I've seen that. I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's
But
got that epic hat though, man. Those braids.
they make her almost Jedi-like in the way that she talks.
Yeah.
You know? And good camouflage. You look like a drapery.
The princess though, you know.
But yeah. Uh-huh. A Bene Gesserit princess.
All right.
And
I do. You
I
know,
like the sets.
Yeah, I'm about to say. I was just
in
about
the
to say.
Siege.
I do like the Siege in general. That there's just a. Like I said, I do think that my earlier criticisms I do stand by, but there is much more because again I remember in the book really liking getting into the Siege and exploring the Fremen culture and you know just the relationships with because you know having it's always been interesting to me. I don't know if this sounds weird, but I've always found a highly patriarchal yet at the same time just hardy race and kind of how that works where the women are still very you know classic you know patriarchal system but they're incredibly tough fearsome women at the same time and that kind of balance I've always found interesting because you're trying to show like this is a culture that is so ingrained with this is the way things are. This is the way things have to be. They've been this way forever. We don't anticipate them. This is not a culture interested in change. But at the same time, it's a culture that's so harsh. It's made everybody into hardened versions of kind of ancient cultures. It's just I don't know. I've just always found that to be an interesting exploration. And the Fremen were one of my favorite sci-fi versions of that.
We talked over a scene here where you have
sorry.
Chani and her discussing like a little bit of relationships and the whole Reverend Mother thing, her pregnancy. And honestly, there's a moment when it's just like they're discussing Reverend Mother stuff, but it's seriously like it looks like flirting. Like it had weird gay vibes for a second.
Interesting.
Like this is really strange, but essentially they have Chani trying to kind of schmooze up to her as being like, you're a Reverend Mother, and that's really cool. I've been doing stuff like that, and I think your son's kind of cute, and Jessica bringing up the problems that could represent.
Yeah. Now here we got the smugglers, right?
Do they have the smugglers this early?
I can't remember. I feel like what they just looked at that this is when they go down there. Isn't this where they reintroduce, or do they wait longer? Yeah, because Gurney doesn't come back in for a while. That's right.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that it's not for like another after they do the 2-year jump. I mean they do have Gurney
there he is
here,
right there. Yeah.
But I don't necessarily know if this is when they introduce him or not. Like reintroduce him as part of it. I mean, it could be. It's been long enough. I can't remember the exact details of when they do stuff. But the book sets up an entire conspiracy where the Atreides knew there was a traitor inside, which we know, of course, to be Dr. Yui. But Yui was above reproach because he had these crazy vows and this conditioning that allowed him to not be a traitor, but lo and behold, he was. And Gurney and Thufir Hawat became convinced that the actual traitor was Lady Jessica. And Gurney stayed on Arrakis specifically to kill.
That's to say,
Jessica,
yeah. He's very much like that's his mission behind the scenes. You find out, and it takes a pretty intense intervention to convince him that no, it wasn't her. Really, we actually do know. We're not just guessing.
Look to frickin' designs just in the background, people. Like, they're only used in one scene, but look at these just...
Oh, yeah. This is a set we'll, like, never see again, yet they went to so much work decorating it, you can tell.
Yeah.
And his sleeves. Just like...
They are sleevey.
And that was it, too. It was like a cape with just the sleeves.
It's like a vest with wings.
Well, yeah, but it was long in the back. It had, like, just like a tail down the back.
Oh, did it have a tail?
Yeah,
it did. Tail.
They definitely
go into the... I always hated this headpiece for Fenring, though.
Yeah. I was about to say, they really do get into the whole... I mean, classically speaking, right, purple was the color of royalty. So they definitely kind of... I think they leaned into that, obviously, here. A lot of purples. And basically,
and the more
purple and gold.
You are, the higher your headpiece.
Yeah. I'm expecting to see a cabal jump out of the walls here somewhere.
Oh, geez, cabal. What specifically are you thinking of? Like the location?
Well, the Leviathan. No, the Leviathan.
The Leviathan.
Location.
Yes, the Leviathan. I'm like,
all
knew
the purple and gold.
About.
Yep. Yeah, I wonder if they had a little inspiration from this miniseries.
I doubt it, but at the same time, I wonder. You never know what affects people.
Yeah, this is a cool. Just with the glow cube, you got the moon, the green moon. I wonder if it's supposed to be like iron somehow. Like they're thinking that that's green.
Not iron. Copper.
Copper. Yeah, I'm sorry. You are correct, sir. But they are taking the time to show Paul, kind of moving into more of a leadership and like trying to, convince the other leaders. Besides just, Stilgar's kind of behind him, but, having to work a little bit here for the tribes and the faith in him, that kind of stuff.
There's a couple things about it, like the way that some of them, in the background for a minute, they had them like lounging while they were eating in a way that is very uniquely Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
And they have some, because, where they filmed this, Czechoslovakia, it's not that far. But there's some really interesting cultural things that we as Americans don't necessarily pick up on that fit that region really well, and they were the inspiration for the Fremen.
Well, wasn't
So I thought that interesting.
Yeah, wasn't I just was checking here, 62. I have a point here.
You do?
So Dune was written.
It was released in 1965. It was written in 1962.
Yeah, 1962. So what I was going to come up with, though, is that I thought I remembered this being true, and I just double-checked it, that Lawrence of Arabia had come out before he wrote and finished Dune. And I'd always heard that Frank Herbert, that was another source of inspiration for him, was Lawrence of Arabia.
Oh, yeah. Not only the movie, though, but the book, Seven Pillars of Wisdom by T.E. Lawrence, which is just a great little piece of book.
I feel like every alien culture has got to have something else like at hand. Like it's like a requirement when you write alien cultures, like human alien cultures. Like, well, they got to have something besides normal hand things. Like they've got the the little hand wave like backwards thing. I always remember like in Deep Space Nine, the Bajorans clap like backwards. Like the back of the hand to the palm of the other hand. It's like it's like sci-fi writing 101 to
I
make.
thought that was the Ferengi.
No, that was the Bajorans. I promise. But
okay.
But like
because
some
the
kind of
Ferengi have a weird clap as well.
Oh yeah,
they like. Yeah,
but it's one of those simple but easy ways to make a culture like, oh, there's no culture that I know of that does that, and you just come up with something really simple like that, but it just helps add a little bit of oh, there's something different.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like her headpiece is just it's interesting. I don't know.
It reminds me of Rita Repulsa.
Oh my gosh!
From the Power Rangers.
You're not wrong.
After 100,000 years, I am free.
Oh my goodness! I'm gonna get those Power Rangers.
Well, it's just you have a woman
Goldar.
in a sci-fi
She's
thing that
she
has
was always
the,
yelling.
weird horn things.
I was trying to think of
Yeah.
the gold lion dude, like Goldar. He's always screaming his name.
Goldar.
He was in
That's
trouble.
right.
Oh
Because
gosh.
they had Zed, Rita Repulsa, and Goldar, and then
Yeah.
they had like Mr. Goo or something like that.
Yeah, there was some other generic, villains.
Well, they had the bad guy from the movie who was like Goo related.
I think you're right.
He was like pink. I remember.
Oh, again,
Ugh.
the matte. I mean, you know what? It's not a bad. It's the matte painting itself is good. It's just the way
But
they've
it's in a great
positioned it and filmed it makes it look worse. Because the actual painting itself is probably amazing.
Yeah. But setting up I like that they do take their time before, you could say, consummating the relationship between Paul and Chani. They give them a lot of moments where you see they're hanging out and they like each other.
Yeah.
And normally, in a situation like this, they kind of have a minute of that and then jump into relationship. And it keeps them in the state of non-relationship for well over half this hour and a half movie so far, which is a long period of time in movie time. And so I get that they don't exactly have the best chemistry between the actors, but I like that they didn't just jump into it. Because that's one of the things about Villeneuve's Dune that was kind of weak, is that I didn't really believe the relationship between Chani and Paul in its development.
Yeah, it was. Well, there was a little bit of a. Because it was written like a modern relationship where, as soon as you're even remotely attracted to each other, you have sex, and then you kind of figure out, the actual relationship part later, and that's the modern way to do it. And they did it where it was they were still figuring out their relationship. She was still figuring out if she believed in him. They were still doing all that, but but they jumped to the physical part immediately, which is just, again, that's a very modern take. Whatever. I mean, we don't have to get into that, but I think that's the difference here, which is you are avoiding the trope of, as soon as we look at each other, we're like, I could do that. That you just jump right to that.
A very long courtship process.
Yeah.
It's okay. They'll have their time when the Fremen have their giant weird-ass orgy.
Yeah, that is. It was the 60s, right?
There's this... Yeah, it was the 60s, because it is a drug-induced orgy, for one. But
Puppet show.
I saw a whole bunch of people in this, talking about this, and just Dune in general, not even about this movie, but Dune in general, that there's a lot of things in Dune that's a lot more tongue-in-cheek and kind of, comedic than we really allow it to have. Kind of like in The Lord of the Rings. There's some funny stuff in the book, Lord of the Rings. But we regard it with such reverence that it could never have comedy in it.
Yeah. Even though, Tolkien did want some funny parts.
Oh yeah, I mean, he had Merry or Pippin doing an impression of Gollum and stuff like that.
Yeah, this scene's probably one of the closest they have to actual. I think because their smiles seem genuine. There is something about a smile feeling less forced. And I don't know, it's not amazing, but I do feel like this is one of the better scenes right here, where there's a tiny bit of actual chemistry.
Yeah.
Just I think a lot of it, just the way that she's looking at him, seems more, I don't know, just a little more genuine, and just there's a body language, and it's hard to describe exactly what it is, but there's a little bit of a maybe it's a relaxed posture, when you're not.
She's less on guard.
She
not
is
grieving, which is kind of all the only scenes we've had her in so far.
Yeah,
and they're doing their best to build her character.
Mom's
the book doesn't build the character of John
all right, son, you're gonna go out and do your thing.
It's not a roll in the hay here; it's a roll in the sand.
Oh man, can you imagine? Just like Arrakis's desert. Oh man, just be
finding sand in every crevice for months.
Man, not to mention the fact that you would just become impervious to the smell after a while. Just like the constant sweaty, sticky smell that every human being would have around you.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
nobody's
it
showering.
brings it up in the books a lot. Because they showered. They had different hygiene, but it was mainly around almost like light moisture and sandpaper.
Yeah.
Like,
Ooh.
you didn't clean yourself by just getting the dirt off. You took the skin off with it.
Yeah.
Like
it
sand
worked.
scrubbing, essentially.
Actually,
And
the thing is, the Fremen probably would have had amazing skin because they kept themselves covered all the time.
yeah,
Like, they
that's
actually
one of the
probably...
things that's brought up, is that there was one thing where there was an expectation that people from the deep desert would be much darker, like in like with Earth's equatorials,
Yeah.
right? Higher melanin in groups that come from the equatorials closer to the sun for protection. But the Fremen aren't necessarily like that. The older people have like deep tans, especially on their face and hands.
Yeah, but to say, you would almost have like a raccoon
There's actually
thing
a lot
going.
of really pale people.
Yeah, you would actually you would most Fremen would look like raccoons because they would have kind of where their eyes are, right? You would have that tan across their face, and then you would have.
So they traveled in the dark.
Yeah.
So they were rarely out during the day.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if you had any like tan other than hands, that would be it. But it would, you would have maybe not like white people, but you would definitely have lighter skinned people.
Oh.
You wouldn't have like black Africans. Like when I say black,
Yeah.
I mean you know what I mean. Like there are different shades of African Americans. You'd
have more Middle Eastern,
yeah, but
which is what they're heavily based on.
Yep.
This scene was in the miniseries, and it's the closest that you got to nudity. You know, you're getting heavy top boob and no nipple. And I remember watching this by myself
Zach.
the first time. I didn't know that was in this, and I was like, "Whoa, that was unexpected."
To quote Sulu, you were like, "Oh my."
Oh my. and
then immediately jump to the Reverend Mother.
So you finally have sex with your new girlfriend, and that night you dream of an old woman. Good job, Paul.
Yeah.
Creep.
Oh.
Yeah. I think the blue lighting also allows the whole Fremen eyes thing to be a little bit easier. Also, I love this effect, right? The darkness, but it has the Fremen eyes, and they're a little bit luminous. Like, it actually looks really good.
Yeah, this is like actually a really well lit shot. It looks cool. Well, also too, it's one of the few shots where the lighting isn't harsh. You don't get like this very spotlight effect from an angle. Like so often, it really just feels like harsh lighting, and that was just a nice evenly lit scene.
Yeah.
All right, so we got
because,
Paul
like
teaching
here you have
how
the
to...
spotlights in the middle.
Yeah, you got
the weirding way. They have this one actor in here. He plays a character by the name of Othium, which, depending on which audiobook you listen to or who you talk to, somebody's going to have a different pronunciation for that name. And I don't think that's him. No, that's not him. But he appears in Children of Dune, and the actor never really did anything else. He has like 5 other acting credits. But he's one of these death commandos. And this guy, Othium, that's him. But there's so many different pronunciations. He's like, yeah, there it is, Othium. He's like, it's Otheim or Otaimian or something like that. The name is really strangely spelled, and nobody seems to pronounce it the same way.
Yeah. Everybody does get the Moadib part right, though, it seems like. Moadib.
But yeah, the actor pops up. He has an important but minor role in Dune Messiah. Given that Othium didn't, I don't think they had an Othium in the Villeneuve Dune. At least if they did, they didn't name him.
They didn't name him. Yeah, I mean, there were enough Fremen characters in that he probably was there. He probably was on a casting sheet somewhere. But yeah, his name was never spoken.
Othium is like he's an important lieutenant to Muad'Dib, and he like so much so that Paul will leave the safety of the the Imperial Palace to go see Othium on his deathbed. Like he's part of his special forces team, part of his crew.
That is one thing I thought was cool with the David Lynch version, was the whole with the still suits, and they had the red shoulders, and just kind of that whole thing.
Yeah, that's him, the Fedaykin or the Fedaykin, however you decide you want to pronounce it.
And that is a hat. She's gonna, she's gonna take off. If she falls, she just has to. She's the Rocketeer. This helmet's got a rudder on it.
No, she's not the Rocketeer. She's a flying nun.
She's a flying nun. Oh, man. I feel like that's a hat that was in Baldur's Gate or something somewhere.
Actually, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Dune Part 2, Denis Villeneuve, and those weird, like, referee things during
that's right.
introduction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got his like little leather strap on too. Just
dude,
that sounded weird.
There's so much kink gear in this thing
just like,
for the Harkonnen.
Oh yeah.
Like the suspensor harness for the Baron.
It's just a big old like BDSM planet.
Up, yeah. That's how they play this. It's the BDSM planet. And it's even kind of like that in the book. They don't give a lot of description, but they give enough to make it weird.
Yeah, I do like that I'm assuming that the actor for the Baron's like on like a scooter or something, or because he's just floating. You can tell he's not walking, which is cool. I'm guessing they did that practically somehow, but the little detail there is important.
He's on some sort of like little go-kart.
Oh yeah, he's on one of those creepers you see like at mechanic shops. Under his robe. He's being pulled by a low rope.
Oh, man. But yeah, the guy there, Count Fenring, he's literally what I think of when somebody describes a human being as being rat-faced. He's rat-faced man.
And that actor didn't really do much else, did he? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. But
I looked up a lot of these people, but I didn't look up Count Casimir Fenring, Miroslav Taborski.
Oh yeah,
that's a name.
I see that name popping up all over the place.
Actually, you know what? He has acted quite a lot. He has 200 acting credits on IMDb.
Oh,
almost none of it's in America.
Okay.
And it's the same thing with the actress who plays Chani, who they refer to as Cheney in this. But they're big in the Eastern European acting block.
These guys,
more sumos.
But to say these guys were very just. All right, we got to get our get your do your glutes today because you're going to show them off.
Right. I mean, in the Villeneuve version, it was just a weirdly short old woman, right?
Yeah, that whole scene though was like intense. Where she was down and like getting them, and like she was like smacking the sand and like like just waiting, and then she like get to wrap around her. I mean, like that whole scene was cool.
This scene isn't without its merits.
Oh yeah,
because you're understanding the culture already of water, and they're wasting a lot of water here. It's like, oh shit, that's a worm, and these guys are doing something really weird. And like 3 times in this series, Chani shows up wearing this like hood thing where it's obvious that she's just like practically naked, but they hide it from you, and it feels weirdly unnecessary and kind of like sexual and almost like kinky in a way.
But then
that like was the director just kind of a pervert who wanted the stuff? Is it supposed to be like practical somehow?
It's the head bag.
I don't know.
Got to head bag this worm. I do love that this is obviously just like a rubber prop that they the actors had to sell shaking this thing around. They were doing like the inverse of the actors on the bridge of the Enterprise, throwing themselves around while the camera stays still.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Very kind of Apocalypse Now.
Oh yeah.
All of a sudden, with like the kids surrounding Colonel Kurtz,
Yeah. The close-ups of the face paint and the at least there's a reason why they're getting harsh lighting up on their face. They've all got glow globes.
Well, also their like faces are painted.
Yes, yeah, they're painted green.
But yeah, the whole water of life thing is so difficult to explain in film.
It's hard to explain.
No
in the book.
version has done it well.
Yeah,
no version has done it well. She has the ability to change her biology through the Bene Gesserit way, that she could turn poison into not poison. She can like extract it and purify it, but the resulting like vomit is like a heavy hallucinogenic drug.
Yeah.
And the person with the right mental capacities and abilities can actually use that drug to see into the future and access the memories of the people before them in their genetic line. It's so weird. It's so weird.
Well, I'm going to say, it is quite difficult to make it clear in the books, where you have way more ability to just literally exposit the whole thing. In a film, it's borderline impossible that if you don't know this from the book or, a good wiki, you would have no idea. You would have no idea what the heck was going on, which I understand why it gets kind of glossed over, by filmmakers. They're like, I don't know how to explain this. The same thing with the Weirding Way. I mean, it's without getting into a whole... I mean, I feel like if you did just boil it down to as simple as I have such perfect control over my body that I can kind of make it do anything I want. That, oh, wow.
The other nude scene, this time there's 4 of them.
This dude did work out his back a little bit. I'm just saying. He might have gone to the gym once or twice.
They all put in the work.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, you gotta... He probably didn't have a bad time filming this.
You're not wrong, but my goodness.
I know, I'm sorry.
Man.
But it's a weird scene.
It is.
I don't know why they'd have it. I don't know why they'd film it. And I don't know why they'd have it in here. It's odd. And
there is just a little bit of like you said, you do wonder if there's a little bit of the director just wanted the excuse to have some naked women on the set. I mean, there's definitely stories of that being a real thing, on film. So you just never know, because that was just one of those like, okay, what was the point of that? We just finished it. Is it just that they're establishing that Irulan is, is there to mess with, with Fade?
Yeah, is it just to be that, really to establish that the Harkonnen are perverts?
Yeah.
Like, all they care about is sex and death, and thus they are the bad guys.
Yeah.
It's just such an odd thing to choose that scene to juxtapose all this,
Yeah. I do love the, in Villeneuve's, just the intense blue of the, like, the bile, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
It just is such a striking...
The water of life.
Yeah, it's just such a striking visual versus, here you just kind of got the fancy skin, water skin. They do give Chani a lot more, like she's, there where they're extracting, from the worms, and then she's the one that gives Jessica, like they let her do a lot of that kind of stuff, just to kind of keep her from being more than just, Paul's girlfriend and then eventual wife.
Well, Chani was, like, straight up an acolyte to be a Reverend Mother. Like, that was something in the books that she was doing. They didn't just create it from nothing in here, but they totally removed it in the Villeneuve version.
Yeah, I mean, I know that she was a believer. The Villeneuve version, like, just made her a non-believer, which was I talked about it in, like, that podcast, so I'll spare you. But the fact that they actually have her kind of just, instead of introducing some random, priestess or somebody, they just kind of let her do all that stuff in this movie too, which I don't think is bad.
That's what she was in the book. That's what I'm saying. She was an acolyte.
Yeah, but was she actually doing this all with Jessica in the book? I don't remember that.
I believe she was present at the very least.
Yeah.
But it is kind of interesting that they have the
young Reverend Mother.
Thank you. I could not get the word young.
Young Reverend Mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because again, dream sequences
an unnecessary choice,
Yeah, but dream sequences are hard. I think here they are trying to. I mean, because how would you show on film in an efficient, quick way what's happening here? Like, how would you visually represent that with just having a bunch of kind of word vomit explain it?
Have you ever seen Avatar: The Last Airbender?
The live action one?
No.
Okay.
The cartoon.
Just little bits of it.
There's scenes where Aang goes into the Avatar state. He has access to the memories of everybody previously in his line. They could have done something like that, a visual representation that would have worked. Though this does also work to show that there's the place that women cannot go, that only the Kwisatz Haderach can. It makes it a physical place at the end of this wormhole. So it's not the worst.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it's just kind of the narration that's a little weird.
I do like the just a little moment here with the baby. Like, oh, I gotta protect my baby. I'm sorry. I just I just woke you up. That's really rude. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, woke you up before you were born. That's called being pre-born. She's now an abomination, and by the law of the Bene Gesserit, you need to be murdered.
Yeah.
But this scene also, could you imagine directing her in this scene? It's like, okay, we need you to embrace the fake baby. Like, we're just gonna add it in post. Just pretend that there's an amniotic sac in front of you.
Give her a a volleyball or something to hold on to. Just some kind of a prop.
You said volleyball, but all I imagined was a beach ball.
I was just thinking of Wilson in my mind. Just they gave her Wilson. It's your baby,
right? But like having Irulan going through like what we kind of already know, I think is a really clever way to like recap what's been going on and give her something to do so she's a little bit more notable as a character. But it's also like weirdly edited into this thing.
Yeah, it was interesting to put that right in the middle of Jessica's whole ordeal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know what they're really going on with there.
Yeah.
But here we have that dual lighting that's just strange. And you could tell they filmed it on film and not on digital because we wouldn't be able to see any of the lighting. Like, it would blow out the camera so badly,
Yeah. But she got the eyes. There you go.
She got the eyes.
The instant eyes.
And the Reverend Mother's dead. I just noticed that there's some weird headdress on Mother Amalo that's like has teeth on it. Like, animal teeth.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like the jaw of like the little Boadib or something, like a little mouse or some little desert creature. It's got like a little jaw hanging off of her headpiece.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't like it. You can see the willies.
All right, everybody else is bowing. I'm gonna come up and just be like, "You all right, Mom? Everything all right?
You good?"
But now everybody gets some.
Everybody gets some. Now we all get to celebrate with the drug orgy.
Yes.
Like, they kept this in from the book, and it's so weird.
And then I do. Okay, sorry. This is funny. I do like for Erlon to be like, "All right, get in here because I've learned what I need to. You're gonna take over. I'm not actually gonna have sex with this guy. That's icky."
Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah,
I always remembered that.
But she's like looking at her servant and be like, you come in here. You got to take one for the team. Come on.
Like, this is what you've already been doing. This is your role. Help me. Help your princess.
There we go.
Get me out of here.
Oh, man.
Well, because I remember being a young man and finding this actress particularly attractive. Oh. I wondered if we were going to get a sex scene with her at this junction.
You were just watching the wrong version.
No, not the bald lady. Irulan.
Oh, Irulan. Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I guess we're not. Is like they're just teasing us this whole time?
Oh.
Yeah, so
Here you
oh,
go.
that's right. There's
Full
I
on.
think that actually like some of the silhouetted nudity in this scene was actually in the TV release. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean,
That's literally all that we get, but
the fact
this
that,
is the
it's still in
scene
there.
when they actually get together in the book.
Yeah.
Because essentially the tribe is descending into their wild drug-induced orgy, and Paul and Chani are like hanging out in a corner by themselves, and she's been given like a little hint of the spice prescience herself, and she's seen a vision of the future having children with him, and they weren't even like official yet, and it kind of implies that they went and became official at that juncture.
Well, good for them. Good for those kids.
Good for them, because they were like 14.
They were young. Everybody gets aged up in Dune. You got to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
when we get to children in Dune, they really had to age up those actors because it would have been
Oh
really
my
weird
gosh.
for a 9-year-old to be like, betrothed and stuff.
And they've already cast them and for Dune Part 3, and they're definitely older than 9.
Yes. Well, I mean,
Oh yeah. I guess that the orgy does keep going.
yeah.
It's a
So
really
okay,
awkward scene.
this is a
Oh look, more boobs.
okay. This is a totally random, not related to Dune at all. But do you think, because we are
Okay.
getting the next Dune, late this year, do you think that Dune Dune Part 3 is gonna blink off of Doomsday's release date, or do you think that they're actually gonna try to release both those films the same weekend and see what happens?
I don't know, man. Everybody's kind of buying into this Doomsday thing.
Problem is, it's not counter programming. It's not the Barbenheimer thing where you have very different audiences or very different tonally films. You've got hard genre. Well, I mean, Dune's a much harder genre of thing than Doomsday, but still.
What? Excuse me?
What
Dune is a harder genre thing than
no,
Doomsday.
well, in my mind, Dune is a much more serious piece of science fiction than the MCU. And I don't know. I mean, you could disagree with me, but I think that Dune's intense.
I'm just saying. I think that as a saying, it's a different genre, but I don't think there will be a piece of comic book genre that Doomsday like. I think Doomsday is going to be like an ultimate piece of comic book genre, I guess.
Yeah, I don't want to get talking about the MCU too much. I'm genuinely like, I mean, I'm gonna go see it obviously, and I'm excited, but I'm also like worried that they're a movie that packed. Being able to balance that is going to be so difficult without making it just all cameos, where it's ultimately just like
here's my thing.
frustratingly.
I will go see. I love the MCU. I love the Avengers. I will go see Dune Part 3 before I go see Doomsday.
Okay, yeah,
As much as I know that I will see Doomsday, if I have to pick between the two, it's gonna be Dune.
yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah. Well, it'd be interesting. That weekend will be a busy weekend at the theater for sure. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, but the whole Aaliyah and it's just how the genetic memory works, how the difference between the Bene Gesserit and like women who drink the water life versus a man and Paul doing it took me definitely more than one read through Dune to kind of wrap my mind around what he was going for. And part of me wonders if Frank Herbert himself didn't quite flesh it out until he had written more than the first book. Like, I think that he might have been working on it a little bit in his own mind as he was writing it.
I agree. I think that, like, having talked to a few publishers and how they look at some of these things, I imagine that he fleshed it out a lot, and then somebody like a proofreader and an editor read it and went, bro, like, calm your tits.
People do have to, they do have to understand this.
Like, let's make this part just a bit more vague, okay? And then if you want to write another one, that's when you flesh it out a bit more, okay, buddy?
Yeah. Do you...
Oh, goodness.
In this film, I mean, we're going to get into part 3 next week, which is fine, but I just briefly want to... How do you feel like this interpretation handles just the fact that Paul is never meant to be a hero? I think, because he's... that's talked about a lot, that he was, Frank Herbert, the idea behind him was a cautionary tale, the idea of, the dangers of putting... your faith in anybody, one person, and just kind of all of, just it was definitely not written to be, Luke Skywalker, right? And
he does go through the hero's journey.
Oh yeah,
the monomyth, but not necessarily to the same ending. And I would say that they make him a little bit more heroic at the end. They don't make him Jesus like at the end of David Lynch's Dune, but
he makes it rain.
They also don't make him the straight up evil villain that he was kind of at the end of Dune Part 2 and Villeneuve's Dune. I think that this one balances it a little bit better once we get to Part 3, and to really show that this is somebody who's struggling. He wants what's best for the people around him, and he's going to do terrible things in order to achieve it. Yeah. And there's that distinct feeling at the end when he's sitting down on the throne that this is not a good evolution for Paul, but it's what he sees as the only way forward. And I love that because I feel that they did not do that in Villeneuve's Dune properly.
Yeah. I think that ultimately Villeneuve's Dune is going to in some ways kind of live or die by part 3 with where they progress things, because if they do it right, they retroactively make the whole thing way better from a pure story level. I mean, from a cinema level, Dune Part 1 and Part 2 are both masterpieces. They're both gorgeous. They're well acted. Oh, yeah. It's just they're so amazing. But from a story,
9 out of 10 movies, 10 out of 10 movies even. But they're like 6 out of 10 Dune movies.
Yeah, and that's where I think that if he, depending on what he does with Part 3, he could elevate the entire his trilogy, so to speak, could be elevated depending on how he does it. So yeah, we'll see.
Completely agree. But since we rambled a little bit on this one and we've just talked so much about Dune already, we should probably end out so that way people can jump into the third one now.
Because we got even more Dune next week. We'll wrap this sucker up.
More Dune! Oh my god!
Yeah, and we are going to do Children of Dune at some point, but not immediately. So if anybody's wondering, coming, but not right now.
Don't worry, guys. I've already got it scheduled out.
All right. Well, have a good night, everybody.
Wink, wink. Good night, everybody.
There's doors and corners, kid. If you don't clear the room, if you don't come in slow,